One of the things we'll be working with in every C++ program we create is data. So what I want to do in this lesson is just go over the different types of data that we're going to have to work with. And I'm going to do that just by displaying different types of data, or at least showing you on the screen what they look like. The first one is just a simple number, a whole number, that we're going to identify as an integer. So what I did was I wrote out a statement to display an integer 1, and then in a comment, which is these two slashes, we'll talk more about comments later, I identify that as an integer. So that's the first type of number. The other type of number that we have is a floating point number. Whoops, got off the wrong keys there. 3.14159, which is the approximation of pi, that's a floating point number. There's different data types that store floating points, and we'll talk more about those later. And those are the two main numeric types. Then we have strings, which we've looked at previously. Those are written inside double quotes, so we know what strings are. We also have a data type called the char, which is just a character value. And chars are interesting because they are stored in the computer, or in the compiler in C++, as integer values using something called the ASCII table, A-S-C-I-I. The other primary data type that we have, excuse me there for getting off on the wrong keys, is true or false. And we call those Boolean values. Boolean values are interesting also because they're stored internally as zeros and ones. So a true value is stored as 1 and a false value is stored as 0. I think you'll see that when I run this program right here. Notice that my true value was displayed as a 1, even though I could write out the word true. That's just an interesting way that C++ stores Boolean values. So that's just kind of an overview of the data types that we're going to work with. That's not every single one, but those are the primary ones that we're going to be using, especially at the beginning. And later on we'll talk about how we can work with more data types, but these are the primary ones. So with that, we're going to move to the next lesson where we're going to talk more about the numeric values that we'll be